Hello, my name is David Grasso from Bold TV, and this segment is brought to you by Engineered Tax Services, where engineering and accounting come together. Joining us via Skype is Karyn Turk. She's the host of Red America Radio. How you doing, Karyn?
I'm doing fantastic. Always good to be here on Bold TV.
Always great to see you. So let's get right into it. According to The Hill, 4 California voters filed a lawsuit against the state following a new law that prevents President Trump from appearing on the state's 2020 ballot unless he discloses his tax returns. So how do you think the suit is going to pan out, Karyn?
I think it's unconstitutional, and I don't think it's going to pan out very well for Gavin Newsom. That's really how I'm feeling about it today. And I think I'm very thankful for people like Todd and Tom Fitton and people that are going to go ahead and challenge this because it really is unconstitutional. The state can't just override the U.S. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, well, there's been a lot of laws happening like this. I believe one passed here recently in New York as well. So a lot of people are interested in the president's tax returns. But the question is, do they have the authority to impose this sort of qualification on candidates?
Yeah, they really don't. That's the problem. And it's become, in the president's own words, a witch hunt. And it's become so much about these tax returns that it's just kind of blurring everything else that's going on. And the bottom line is it's about elections, as everything else is, and it's about voters. And California saying that this is something that's important to their voters doesn't make that a fact. Just because Gavin Newsom says this is important to the voters doesn't mean that it actually is. And I think the people of California need to be very afraid because this also opens a can of worms. You're looking at tax returns, but what's next? Facebook friends?
Yeah, it's a slippery slope there. So let's talk about the president's team. They've also gotten involved in the lawsuit. So, Karyn, are we tired about talking about the president's tax returns? Can't he just show them already so we can all move on with our lives? And evidently, Governor Gavin Newsom can move on with his pretty little life as well.
Well, I think, you know what? I know because he shouldn't have to do it. It's unconstitutional. He shouldn't have to do it just because it's historically been a tradition for presidents to do this doesn't mean that our president has to do it. And he's making a point, and it's a very good one, is that he doesn't have to do it, and he's going to stick by that. There are a lot of other things that we can focus on that are more important right now. Let's look at the wins for America. Look at the work that the president has been able to accomplish. Let's look at tax reform. You want to talk taxes? Look at tax reform and the amazing strides that were made with that. We have so many positives. This narrative about the Democratic Party just wanting to take the president down needs to end.
Okay, so let's talk about Fox News is reporting a man from Minnesota just pled guilty in federal court to trying to access the president's tax returns. Man, Karyn, people will go to such great lengths just to see the president's taxes. Talk about some boring paperwork that people really just want to see.
It doesn't even make any sense. And the president has said time and time again that he's in the middle of an audit. And then you hear this argument from the IRS that issues this statement saying, well, that doesn't prevent him from releasing them. But he's a citizen. He doesn't want to release them. He doesn't have to. That's the bottom line.
So what do you think about his 2020 re-election prospects, Karyn, since we're getting into tax returns? How do you think, looking ahead, how do you think things are looking for the president?
I think they're looking up. I mean, I really think that the more that this nonsense continues, I think the Democrats are digging themselves a hole. And I think they're losing the interest of the moderate Democrats that follow this party. They're going so far to the left and they don't stop with the rhetoric, whether it's the tax returns or other things in his past that they want to look at. They are so out of touch with the American people and their actual voter base that they're hurting themselves. There are a lot of people that are going to vote red that you don't expect.
Well, Karyn, and this wasn't on the topic list for today, but let's talk about it a little bit. Right here on Friday, Stephen Ross, who's a famous developer for Related, the biggest landowner in New York City, is hosting a fundraiser for Trump, and people are calling for a boycott. Joaquin Castro, who's a congressman down in Texas, also tweeted out all of Trump's supporters right there in his district. What do you think about that?
What is New York so afraid of? What are they so afraid of? They're afraid of someone hosting a fundraiser for him? I mean, how ridiculous is this? Again, this is a private citizen that has the right to support a candidate. Why would we boycott this?
And Karyn, when you donate to a candidate, you personally, do you always personally align with all of their values, or do you follow the 80-20 rule, where if you line up 80%, you're willing to support them?
Yeah, I would say the 80-20 rule applies. We don't need to agree with everything. There are things about the president, I agree with most of it, but talking to other voters and other women, some people take his comments as too harsh, but they see the wins that he's making for America, so they're still going to vote for him. You don't have to align and agree with everything, but to get behind a candidate, you have to think that they're going to be able to make real change.
Yeah, and do you feel like a lot of these businessmen support the president purely based on economics and not largely cultural issues, which they may disagree with the president, especially in a place like New York City?
Capitalism and free markets are the foundation of America. They are the definition of American freedom. So, of course, they're going to want to support a president like Donald Trump, just as I do.
Yeah, I think that's my personal opinion as well, but I'm just the interviewer here. So, Karyn, always great having a conversation with you and seeing you. All the best to you and the team in Palm Beach.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Always great to talk about taxes and engineer tax services.
I'll see you soon.